Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Beskar Bucket Podcast. My name is John. I am your host, and welcome to episode 0. I kind of just wanted to take this time to explain a little bit as to what all this is about and what to expect here. So without further ado, this is the Beskar Bucket. So over the last year or so, I have garnered somewhat of a small following on different platforms and in real life as well. And I wanted to take this opportunity to use the small platform that I do have to promote other creators and their mediums, whether that be cosplay or satire or anything really related to the Star Wars genre. And it doesn't even all have to be Star Wars related. I just wanted to use what I have built and give people an opportunity to talk about themselves for a little bit. You see a lot of podcasts where they have guests on where they don't really take the time to talk about what they have going on, what the guests have going on. And it's a lot of just banter back and forth. So I wanted to devote a specific medium to having other creators on, have them talk about what they have going on, interacting with them almost solely on that aspect in the first chunk of the show. And then getting to, what's going on in Star Wars, what's new, different topics. So I wanted to give people an opportunity to talk about themselves for a little bit and show off what they're doing and what they're creating, as opposed to just focusing on what's new and what's relevant. Because a lot of the time people don't have that opportunity to just talk about themselves. So I wanted to create a platform that people have the opportunity to do so. As well as, I just wanted to start a podcast that's just entertaining for myself. I love talking. I love talking to new people. I love talking to people that I already know. So I just wanted to create this so I have an opportunity to talk about Star Wars and talk about people and what they're doing. And that's not, like I said, it's not limited to just Star Wars, but it's what brings most of us together and most of the people that I know. And that's the common denominator here. Yeah, maybe it might branch out into some other pop culture things as well, but primarily it's going to be mostly Star Wars. And the reason you hear that lovely tavern music in the background is because I wanted to start this with somewhat of a theme. And I would always remember playing Dungeons & Dragons, and you would go into a tavern or a bar and talk to the locals or the barkeep in particular and just tell them stories of your character's past, and I wanted that to be somewhat of the theme, and which is why I landed on the name The Beskar Bucket, because it kind of fit that same theme of, for Lord of the Rings, for example, where you have the prancing pony. It's the adjective noun. So I thought The Beskar Bucket fit that quite well. So that's the reason behind the name and the music. And I think the biggest thing to expect from this would be, once we've talked about the guests that we have on for that specific episode, I'd like to also obviously touch on what is going on in the world, but I don't want that to be the main focal point of the episode itself. I would like to always focus on the creator that I have on at the time and discuss what they have going on. But like I said, I'll always have some sort of a topic to go on as well, once we've kind of touched on everything that they wanted to promote about themselves. But all in all, this is mostly supposed to be a way for other people to get their name out there in a different medium than what they're already using. And I just wanted to take this time to give myself an introduction, seeing that this is episode 0, and I don't really want to ramble on too much about myself when I actually start to have guests on and whatnot, because like I said, I do want to make this about the person who's on and not so much myself. Granted, I'll share stories here and there, but I don't want to have a 30-minute tangent about just me. So I'll take this time to kind of introduce myself and let you know a little bit about who I am personally. So obviously, my name is John. I am 22 years old at the time of this recording. I am from Northeast Ohio. And I have been a massive fan of Star Wars ever since I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I can remember I was with my grandparents when I first saw Star Wars, and I can still remember the exact scene that got me introduced to the franchise. It was when Luke and Vader were on Bespin in the carbon freezing chamber, and Luke is up in the rafters and he sprays the exhaust down in Vader's face. So that's how much Star Wars has impacted my life, is that I can remember down to the exact moment when it first became the biggest part of my life. And ever since I was a kid, the biggest thing that always stood out to me was the different costumes and props that just didn't seem real, that were actually a part of our universe, that were twisted and contorted to fit this galaxy far, far away. And that's why, as of late, I have been really big into the costuming and prop making communities. And that's the biggest thing to me, is I love creating things. I love making costumes, and I love finding little greeblies to add on to different props at the hardware stores or at Walmart or anything like that. Because I feel like that's what grounds Star Wars so much, is taking something from our universe and making it fit in a galaxy far, far away. I would say right now my favorite thing to do is 3D printing. I have been 3D printing for about 2 or 3 years now, and it has very quickly become my favorite hobby. I use it to do anything from small trinkets or even full costumes. Right now, the costume that I have completed is my Din Djarin Mandalorian, and all of the armor pieces, except for the helmet, are all 3D printed, and it's a great way to get started in cosplay if you haven't already. I highly recommend it. I am always an open book. If you have any questions about 3D printing, you can always reach out to me. I will help as much as I can. I wouldn't go so far to say as I'm an expert, but I do think I'm fairly knowledgeable and can be pretty helpful if you do need any advice or assistance when 3D printing. So that's what I do right now. I'm currently working on both a Waltz Trooper Factory TK Stormtrooper costume that I would hope to get finished by the end of the summer at the very least. But I would like to join the 501st, so that's what I'm currently working on, as well as on the side I have my custom Mandalorian armor, which I've gotten a lot of it pieced together so far, but I'm kind of just trying to hodgepodge that together to get a full costume done. So yeah, those are the costumes I'm currently working on. What I would really like to do by the end of the year is I'd like to start a Wookiee. Black Chrysanthemum in particular is the one that I would really like to go for and do, just because I think it's not something that everyone does. When you look at either the 501st or the Rebel Legion, or even the Mandalorian Mercs, the ones you see specifically are going to be mostly Chewbacca, and then probably Tarful would be the second. And with the Book of Boba Fett actually displaying Black Chrysanthemum, I think you're going to see an uptick in that, and I'd kind of like to be a part of that, because I think he's a very interesting character, and he's got a fantastic and very different design to him that I think is currently untapped potential with the costuming community. And when I'm not costuming, I also thoroughly enjoy collecting. I like to think that I have a rather large collection myself that probably pales in comparison to a lot of other people's, but I collect anything from specifically the old Kenner toys and the new Funko Pops or the Black Series or anything really. I have a lot of movie posters from my time when I worked at a local movie theater that we have here. I also have a couple of standees from the new movies as well. So collecting is definitely something that I thoroughly enjoy doing. And the biggest crown jewel that I have is I have over 100 copies of Revenge of the Sith on DVD, because Revenge of the Sith is my absolute favorite Star Wars movie, and it's definitely a comfort movie for me. So I wanted to have something that not a lot of people could say they have, and I think over 100 copies of one Star Wars movie certainly does that. So, and it all goes back to Revenge of the Sith was the first movie I saw in theaters. I can still vividly remember seeing it with my dad and my grandmother. We went to one of the midnight showings at our local theater, which probably at 5 years old wasn't the best idea, but I still remember exactly where I was sitting. I can remember seeing the entire movie, and it is still one of the best experiences I've ever had, even going into my adult life. And when you can carry a memory like that, like I said, even into your adult life, it really sticks out as something that's truly special. For instance, I can't remember hardly anything from when I was that young, but the fact that I can still to this day picture exactly where I was and seeing that movie in theaters from 17 years ago, that, like I said, that truly sticks out as something really special. And yeah, you could say it's probably a bit of nostalgia, but genuinely I believe that Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie because of its storytelling and its visual effects and everything. So that's really all I have about me for now. I'm sure that more will come out as we start doing some more episodes and start getting some more guests on. But where you can find me and my personal page is I'm on TikTok at John Scalise. That's JohnScalise. Or I'm also on Instagram at Gotham City_Dark Knight. So all of my links are in my link tree, which hopefully you'll be able to find on either TikTok or Instagram. So yeah, I appreciate you listening to this little introduction from me. I'm very excited to get this started and underway. So if you'd like to be a guest on here and kind of promote yourself and what you're doing, just reach out to me, my TikTok DMs or my Instagram DMs, whichever is easier for you. I would love to talk Star Wars with anyone and everyone, so just reach out to me if you want to hop on. I'd be more than happy to have you on here and just kind of BS about some Star Wars and tell me what you got going on. I love meeting new creators. I love seeing what everyone's got working on. So just reach out to me, and yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you back real soon.